Love Your Brand podcast. If you're looking for real conversations with real people, you're the right place. Let's go!
Live where?
Yeah, live where?
Are we live? We don't know.
You don't know.
Oh,
Nice.
we're live streaming. What's up, everybody?
Hey.
Welcome
Live
to
the
Pie
world.
in the What?
Pie in the what is going on today?
Episode 2 of Pie in the What. We got special guest Sam in the house today. What up, Sam?
What's going on, guys?
Happy
to be here.
Our Sam.
Our Sam. You remember that? We filmed in Nashville, had Lance, introduced him as this is our Sam.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is our Sam. What up, our Sam?
Oh, after that nice introduction where
What's going on?
we lost it. Like, I lost it. That's the worst I've ever lost an intro before in my life.
Do you know what I'm excited about? That the behind the scenes footage that I've been working on getting that thing launched. Guys, we did over the month of June. Was it June that we were out there? Took that road show out to Nashville, filmed 6 episodes. Sam was awesome, where he filmed a lot of B-roll behind the scenes and put that together for you guys. So we got a little, should we call it a blooper reel? It's just behind the scenes that turned into a blooper reel.
Well, I think it's going to be officially called the Road Show. So every time they see the word Road Show, it's essentially will be behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Nashville edition. But that was June. Here we are, November. Dude, we got a big week next week. We got the election.
What election?
Man.
Who is it?
Got 2 amazing candidates running for office.
That's right. What, 6 days from today?
Gosh.
4 days. If this goes live on Friday, 4 days, right around the corner. Guys.
Have you voted yet?
I voted. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I
Sam,
voted.
you voted?
I haven't voted yet.
Man, yeah.
Gotta wait for November 5th.
Got to get out there, guys. You know, talking about marketing and branding, you know, President, T appeared on the Rogan podcast, and it is blowing up social media right now. Episode's got over 27 million views on YouTube.
I heard it's being censored, kind of shut down as well.
Yeah. A lot of people are saying it. He went about 3 hours nonstop, which is pretty impressive, man. I was like, ain't no way. But sure enough, I listened to the whole thing. And saying that, it's becoming like mainstream media, right? It's like traditional mainstream media is taking a back seat. It's truly bewildering right now, being alive right now when that transition is happening. You got other examples. You had Big B and Mr. R.K. on the Theo
We're not going
Von
to say
show.
names.
I mean, I don't know. You said, hey, our first Pie in the What, guys? Please go check it out because it got censored and they said we couldn't boost it. Yeah, we boost a little bit every now and then. That was a new episode. So we didn't have anything to really push it. So we said, hey, let's see what it will do. And it came back with all kinds of restrictions. And we didn't even talk about much. What would we talk about? J.D. Vance?
I mean,
And
all
the
we did
debate?
was say their names. That's
Yeah.
it.
So come on now. Come on, you two.
Honestly, though, I think it's kind of good to be censored. Like, you got to be somebody to be censored.
Really?
And so, I mean, that's the story I'm sticking to.
Okay, I like that story. I
mean, if we can't even say their names, it's freedom of speech already gone. It's not that we're even speaking favorably of one candidate or the other. We're just simply stating facts with your name.
And, and the segue back on the whole podcast thing, Mr. T, R to the K, all of them was on there. Guess what? Kamala. Oh, God, I said the name.
Here we go.
Oh,
We're done.
Kamala. Hey,
We're done.
Kamala is out. Hey,
Man,
her and Rogan. I was like, I can't wait. Have my popcorn. I'm like, here we go. Here we go. Well, it turns out they reached out and said, hey, she can only do an hour, 45 minutes, and we can't come to Austin. Not like everybody else, how you work. You got to come to us. You got to do under certain restrictions. And Rogan was like, nah.
pass.
But, who knows? They could still work something out. I would love to see that train wreck. Just word salad.
Hey, there's
But
rumor going around those little pearl earrings she wears. You can find them. They're little earpieces, and so I'm not saying if that's true or false, but maybe she can get a message in there with those earpieces.
well, look, I'm truly, I really liked RFK, and it's like this whole Kamala thing. Oh my goodness, it blows my mind. Anyway, if she makes it on, I don't know. I'd love to watch it. I think a lot of people would love to watch it. She's had plenty of time to rehearse, so it should be fairly decent as long as Rogan stays on script. But Rogan doesn't seem like the kind of person to stay on script, so it may be a fairly interesting thing. Something else that just happened. First thing I see in my feed, I saw, RFK, R to the K to the J to the R, Mr. Middle Letter. He was on a video saying, please don't vote for me. They kept him on the ballot in Michigan and Wisconsin.
Why do you think that was?
Well, if I
Take
was
away votes from another candidate?
if I was a betting man and I had some kind of strategy, it probably doesn't help that both secretaries of state were, they're both from the Democratic Party. So who knows? Maybe it's just coincidence. So he's essentially pleading now for people, don't vote for me. Don't vote for me, which is hysterical because, he was removed from North Carolina and very narrowly he was removed, barred from the ballot in New York. So you've got all this stuff, but in the swing states, let's keep them on. Who knows, right?
So Ramsey, you said you like RFK. What do you like about RFK?
I like his point of view on healthcare specifically, and the whole food, the manufacturing process of food, and what we're feeding our families. I think those are two big pillars that I can firmly stand behind. Some of the things I'm, hit or miss. But overall, I think the collaboration can be a pretty unified combo. I never thought I would see RFK and Trump join forces. That hit me.
Well,
Hit me like a left hook.
How about even adding Elon in the mix?
Hey,
right? Elon gives his full support of him, and so he's on the ballot.
Yeah, Sam. Hey, you had something about Elon, didn't you?
Well, he basically did it was like $1 million lottery for registered swing state voters. And so he actually got sued though by a big time Philly attorney, and he was accused of running an illegal lottery scheme since lotteries in Pennsylvania must be regulated by the state. Because when you're a guy like Elon, you can just run lotteries whenever you want. So, but that was pretty interesting. And lucky winners, you can look into it. They were, they had like cigars, and it was a whole thing. The winner, it was a lady. I forgot her name, but she got $1 million. $1 million. Can you believe that? So,
yeah.
But yeah, he got sued for it. So interesting to see where that goes.
Well, what's interesting is the power of the brand. You're seeing it now. Everything revolves around the brand. If it's via personal brand, personal brand right now is huge.
100%.
And Trump's got a brand. You may not like it, but you know where he stands. Kamala's got a brand too. You may not like it, but you really don't know where she stands. So it's it's
You
that,
can't even get it out, man.
hey,
You know,
you know,
I think an important thing to see here with politics and personal brands is how personal brands and brands in general evolve. You know, you
absolutely.
can create your brand when you start a business, when you start a brand, but over time it's constantly evolving, it's constantly changing. And so let's look at the candidates. You know, let's look at Trump when 2016 came out. You know, you had people that voted for him, people that didn't. His brand was totally different back then than what it is today. And so he's gained a lot of momentum and a lot of voters, and his brand has changed in his delivery. I mean, you know, he's very candid. He's very frank with his speech. Doesn't speak like a politician because, frankly, he's not a politician and is proud of that. You know, he's a business person that understands policy and understands how to make change, because he's proven that. But if, you know, for businesses that are listening, you know, take that point of what they're showing, that a personal brand is constantly evolving and changing, but the anchor to any brand is authenticity. And so, you know, when you look at the candidates, I mean, they are clear and authentic in what they stand for. And therefore, that's how you attract somebody. You're going to attract people that align with your brand, and you're going to oppose people that don't align with your brand. But authenticity is the anchor there, and you can look at both sides of the platform here, and they are polar opposites of who we have, you know, on the ticket today.
And it's all performance marketing, right? That's what we've seen this year, a lot of performance marketing. And that is the biggest trend right now with entrepreneurs, with companies, with brands. It's about how can I spend $1 and get back 5, right? And whatever. Performance marketing, which is it's good to have, but it could fall like a house of cards at any moment, right? That's why branding is so important. It takes a long time to brand. You know, Trump's been branding for 9 years, and heck, even further in his career. Kamala, she's been branding for 4 years, you know, as the VP. So you see what she's done. So that brand is now affecting the outcome. So brand is longevity. You know, performance marketing, you need it, but you cannot solely rely on it. But I feel like that people have been ingrained so much on performance marketing that they're missing that intricate part of their messaging, of their branding, of their culture that will give them the legs to continue running the marathon, right? They're sprinting, but then you can have a lot of downturns and uphill battles. So you've got to have a mixed bag. And I know it sucks because ROI and KPI and return on ad spend and all the acronyms and alphabet, you've got to measure everything, which is important. Don't get me wrong. But you've got to accommodate the brand. You've got to accommodate branding, its longevity. Um, there's
Well, look,
no way
we
around
say
it.
this often as you're talking about that. People rarely know the difference between branding and marketing. And it's like beating a dead horse
Absolutely.
here, but it's important because with any organization, you need to put the efforts and the energy into branding and marketing. And so branding is when I say Donald Trump, it's immediately what you think about him. When I say Kamala Harris, it's immediately what you think about her. That's what the brand is. And that's what decades of them doing what they were doing. So she's been more in the political space than he has, but he's been in the business space. His brand was developed over the decades, you know, for many decades, as well as hers. But now they're doing a marketing push. And so marketing, you know, is when you're actively trying to sell your product, and they're themselves is the product to become president of the United States. And so marketing is where you're taking action, and their call to action is vote for me.
Mm,
The brand is all the
mm,
stuff
mm,
that's
mm.
been built, that's been all developed to where when they ask for that CTA now, like I want your vote, it's because of those years and decades of what they've done, who they are, the emotions that are tied around them as a person that get us to say, okay, she's got my vote or he's got my vote. And so that's how
Mm-hmm.
branding and marketing is. Like in boxing, it's the 1-2 punch. You know, you jab, jab, jab with that brand, then all of a sudden you knock them out with that right hook, right?
Uh-oh, I'm getting a call from Google.
Oh snap.
They've already shut it down.
You know,
Um,
speaking of marketing and politics, you know, I'm just curious with the kinds of campaigns that you guys have seen in the last decade, starting from, I'm just gonna stick to my timeline here when like Bush and Obama was a thing, and with Trump and Biden and Kamala and Trump now, like, I mean, you're seeing a bigger push on social media now too. I mean, get this, 4 out of 10 young adults in the US are regularly getting news on TikTok, which is, it's more than doubled since 2020, right? So it's clear, I mean, in this case, for the two candidates, they have to market themselves on social media, whether they like it or not, and put themselves out there, put their brand out there. I mean, how is that any different than, back in the early 2000s when you saw, Obama and Bush? Like, how did that look?
That's so fascinating. I was going to say this earlier. Where I get all my news for the political space is on Instagram, and I'm not a Gen Zer like you are, Sam, and yet, like, I believe the mainstream media is just complete garbage. And growing up, so in the Bush and the Obama times, we didn't have social media, and so therefore, if you wanted to learn anything about these candidates, it was only what the mainstream media would say, or these newspapers. And so therefore, if these are dishonest organizations, they're pushing out a narrative that's going to be one-sided, to try to get your opinion swayed. And so now, over this past decade, independent journalism has just skyrocketed because people are breaking off of these big animals that are the mainstream media. And so therefore, it's like I say this quote so often in business: is trust is the currency of the future. And so, if these kids, I guarantee people like our parents' age, they would look at this and be like, you're getting news off of TikTok? That's ridiculous. And it can be, but it's like at some point, we choose who we trust. We choose to align ourselves with the people that we believe this story and this narrative is truth. And so when I say that my news source is on Instagram, I follow a lot of independent things that are showing different perspectives of what's truth out there. And if I get, 10, 20, 30 different sources that are saying the same thing versus this one narrative that I'm hearing on mainstream media, that's how I chalk it up, as I believe that this is true. And I make my voting decision, if we're talking about politics, based on that. And so it's an interesting time. I watch the mainstream media a little bit, not to get information, but to see what's being communicated out there. And it's like, when I contrast it to what I'm getting over here, it is so eye-opening of the garbage that they're spewing for the television. You see that? It's not television, it's television.
Television.
Don't get me going, Jason.
Television. Sam, what else you got? You had some good stuff going on in branding and marketing. We won't keep it political too long. We're just trying to give you highlights. What's this? It's the week of the 28th, right?
Yes, sir.
Hard to keep track. Things are moving fast.
Let's see. You want to talk about? I mean, we're coming into November now. Turkey Day's coming.
Turkey Day.
We can talk a little bit about inflation, how things are a little bit, prices starting to come down, at least for turkey this year, down $25 compared to last year. So your turkey might be a little bit drier, but it's definitely going to be cheaper. It's definitely going to be cheaper compared to last year. What are your thoughts on that?
Maybe it's tofurkey. Did you know that there was something called tofurkey? It was for vegetarians. It was tofu instead of turkey. It's called tofurkey. You can look that up right now and see if it's still available, Sam.
Let's see.
Well, yeah, quality definitely may be a little in question. But hey, let's face it, they're hurting. They're trying to do whatever they can do, right? They're trying to say, come back, please, right? Come back, please. We're going to take care of you. They're banking. I think everybody is this whole year. After the election, everybody discovers that the world has to keep spinning, right, in the same direction. Let's face it, as entrepreneurs and businesses, marketing and branding and doing business in general is a risk. There's always a risk.
Yep.
When there's unpredictability, you're less likely to take risks. If that's being via stock market, any kind of investments, real estate, I mean, you're seeing it with the housing market right now, right? It's kind of flipped. It's more of a turning into a buyer's market. Inflation is still kicking our ASS, but um,
Well,
it just
how would a company, let's say, how would a company say like Target, for instance, and all these Walmart, they're all trying to battle inflation by lowering their prices and getting people to come and buy your Turkey Day meal here. Like how do you navigate an era like now where things are just a bit more expensive? Do you drive your price down? Do you double in on your branding and let that ride the wave? I mean,
oh well, you know how I feel about price. If you get in the price action of who's cheaper,
hmm
then you get into a commodity driven war, which at the end of the day, it's who's got the deepest pockets, who's the largest entity
hmm
that can run for a loss for the longest amount of time. Um, some verticals can do that, especially if they have the whole vertical. But I say, what I've been preaching all year, and Jay Hill knows, I'm like proactivity, right? Be proactive. Continue to invest in your branding, in your voice, in your authority, in your messaging, in your marketing and performance marketing. That should never be skimped on, especially. And I know it's hard. You look at line items and you're like, where do we cut? We don't know. We've got to let people go. But look at the flip side. If you keep pushing it out, you don't want to be behind the eight ball. You can, if you have to let go of people, which I know there's still massive layoffs, Sam, that's some of your stats. Eventually you could bring them back. But if you do nothing, try to just, ride it out in the basement. That's funny. Ride it out in the basement. You're behind the eight ball, man. You're playing catch up.
hmm
And then you're just like, hey, it's all about performance marketing at that point. And geez, working with people that's their driver, um, that's a tough cookie to crack because there's KPIs that you need to identify. One is generating an audience, right? Generating a crew, generating a tribe per se for your brand. That's what branding is. That
hmm
has to be your number one KPI. It sucks because you spend a ton of money and you don't have that direct performance result. You can if you do some affiliate marketing with it and sprinkle in some user generated content, direct to consumers ads, and I mean, the game as well as anybody else. It can be done, but you've got to continue to bolster your brand, put out your voice. Your voice matters, your brand matters, but if you don't do it and you think you could just squeeze by, skimping on this and that and this, and then you're just setting yourself up for failure, man. It's like, always like, hey, what are we doing here? We closing the door? Like, I mean, I know it's tough, and everybody's different. Every company's different. There are certain scenarios where you have no other choice, but I think when you really drill down into it, then there's always a choice, right? And some people and companies are just a little more risk tolerant.
hmm
So just being proactive, really, really continuing to brand and produce branding is my advice in
two
all
things
times.
two things jump out at me on this, Sam. And those two things would be value and what's called a loss leader. And if I look at this stat, or it says Aldi's Thanksgiving meal is going to cost about $47 for 10 people. It's its cheapest in 5 years. Then Walmart's is less expensive than last year, ranges from about $45 for 4 people to about $98 for 2 dozen. And so that's cheap per person. And
Yep.
all these brands, when we think of brands, I mean, there's what we want to know about them. Like Walmart positions itself, you know that you're going to get low cost stuff. So it's not like you walk into Walmart and think I'm going to get high quality stuff. Some of the stuff may be higher quality, but there's more affordable options. And so all these brands, you got to provide value. And when I talk about a loss leader, It's like for my daughter's birthday recently, I got her a season pass to a theme park here locally, Carowinds. It's very inexpensive for that annual pass. And Carowinds, this theme park, they're not going to make money on that, but with it, you get like free parking, which is $30 a day to park if you don't have a pass. They're throwing out something like for cheap, just like these Aldi or Thanksgiving meals, from Walmart. They're putting out there cheap because once you get in the store, they're hoping that you're going to buy something else while you're in there.
Mhm.
They're hoping that you're going to shop and continue there, but they got to throw something, of value to you, to where we're all being hit by inflation. We're all being hurt by the times that we're in right now, to where, hey, you got a 10 people in your family, you want a meal for $47,
Mhm.
get them
Mhm.
covered. That's going to appeal to a lot of people that are hurting right now. And so it's going to bring them in. But then, the goal is once you're there, you start looking around and, hey, I also need this. I also need this. I also
Right.
need this. And so the value, that's where Walmart and Aldi as examples here, they're giving that value of, look, we empathize with you, because that's what a good brand does, is tap into that empathy, to where we're in your shoes too. We're hurting just like you are too, but we're going to give you this. And then once you're there, we're going to drip out a little more content so that you can buy more product from us.
Absolutely. Talk about loss leaders and branding. You know who doesn't have any loss leaders, at least that I've seen, but still can somehow pull it off, no matter how the state of the economy is. People will still drop hundreds of dollars for. It's Apple.
Apple,
Apple. I mean, I don't
hundreds
know
of
about you
dollars,
guys.
thousands of dollars, bro.
I don't know about you guys. I got an Apple myself, but I definitely. I mean, I don't buy into the updates that they come out with every single year. But we're on iPhone 15 now, and it has ChatGPT. It has some neat features, like you can erase people, like strangers, off of your pictures. Um,
Well, the Pixel is already doing that.
Well,
But
so
anyway,
the interesting thing with Apple, is like you're saying, Sam, is that needs versus wants. And
right,
Apple does a great job of showing this is not a need. If I have the iPhone 14, do I need to go to the 16? Absolutely not. Do
right,
I need to spend $1,200 to upgrade for a few
mhm,
more megapixels on my camera or being able to race these people?
right,
They have, what Apple's done such a phenomenal job of, that branding aspect, is creating a community, creating a
mhm,
cult, because you have the people, you have the Apple people, and you have the non-Apple people,
right.
and these become a cult. And to where, I mean, you look at the brand for Apple is just slick, it's sleek, it's clean,
You're buying into the future.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there was a number of months ago, like, saw a video and talked about the power words that Apple uses.
Right.
And, you can leverage AI like ChatGPT, like, hey, take my brand and use the Apple power words and see how that works. So Apple has done a phenomenal job by tapping into that emotional element, which any good brand does. And so
Mhm.
then it messes us up to where I need that iPhone 16 when it's not a need, it's just a want, but you're willing to spend that. And yet you look over here and you complain, but I can't spend $50 on a Thanksgiving meal at Aldi,
Thanksgiving, right?
but I just paid $1,500 for a new phone.
For a new
So
phone.
Apple has done a brilliant job with that. And that is the perfect definition of a brand that is just excelling.
Yeah, it makes you a category of one. I mean, you're no longer a commodity at that point. It's just a matter of value and, like you said, how much do I want this? So, Jason, do you like Apple? Not the fruit,
yeah,
not the fruit.
dude. I mean, come on, man. That's a brand, right? I mean, they did a remarkable job. So, are we going? Is this isn't live, right? If this is live, do
I
you
have no
know?
clue. I
We
have
have
no clue.
no idea. I don't even think this is
I'm
live.
looking at my dashboard. I don't see anything live, but we could be.
Hey, who knows? It could be on
At least
J Hills.
I think we're on CNN right now. Is that what it says?
Oh my goodness, guys. Well, this is our second edition of Pie in the What did you just say?
pie in the
Anyway, guys, Pie in the Sky. We just trying to deliver you relevant stuff. We're shooting it today. We'll get it out in a day or two. There's some good relevant topics, and we always try to tie it back into business, entrepreneurship, branding, marketing. So yeah, appreciate you guys listening, and then be on the lookout. We're gonna start. You'll continue to have more Pie in the What's, and be on the lookout for the road show. It's
I
hilarious.
know what's.
Pie in the what's.
It's amazing.
Pie
And we
in the
have
what's.
some good guests lined up for the Love Your Brand podcast
Absolutely.
as well, coming down the
Absolutely.
pike.
We thinking of going to
have a-
Greensboro?
It might be a GBO edition. You know, we went Nashville. GBO's calling our name. Maybe take the mobile studio there. We have some guests. Got some powerful stories that we want to share with our community. So we might have to take it. You along for the ride, Sam?
I'm happy to do some blooper reels.
There's no bloopers here. We knock it out of the park.
And we can
day.
use Apple Maps to get there too.
Drive straight off that bridge.
Right off the bridge. Come on.
Sam said, well, Apple Maps doesn't update the roads. There's a perfect
Sometimes,
reason
yeah.
not to use it.
Sometimes.
See, they do such a wonderful job branding that it doesn't even matter. See,
It doesn't
people
matter.
just use
Yeah.
it.
Still
Yeah,
playing the Apple. Like,
it's like, hey, why use another service? It's a little more accurate when you're driving a vehicle at 100 miles an hour. You know, it's oh my goodness.
everybody
man.
laugh.
Oh,
Here we
man.
go. Welcome to the Love Your Brand show.
Here we go. Pie in the What, episode 2. That's a wrap.
Please come back. Please watch. It'd be hard to find.
We'll lower our prices.
Hey, next we'll lower our prices, right? This is free, you know. We need to pay them to listen to us.
Yep.
Hey, next time we do a Pie in the What, the next one, we will know who the next president is for the next 4 years. And so we'll probably have some interesting news to share as we come on the cusp of that. So definitely stay tuned and be on the lookout for that.
Hey,
Follow us on all social platforms so that you can keep up with us.
And we get this call-in feature working, guys.
Oh,
We
Lord.
want to hear. I mean, hit us with anything and everything, right? Bad, good, ugly. You know,
Pie in
it's
the
just
what?
Pie in the what? Stay tuned.
All right, guys. Thanks for
Peace.
joining. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for listening and joining us on the Love Your Brand podcast. Stay tuned for the next episode, and remember, share the love.